Now we have reached the end of an astrological year. And we are coming up to the Pisces new moon happening on March 18th, 2026. It is happening at 8:26 p.m. Central Time, 9:26 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Adjust for your time zone. And this new moon is happening at 28 degrees and 27 minutes of Pisces. So look where you have from 26 to 29 degrees of the mutable signs, Pisces, Gemini, Virgo, and Sagittarius, to 0 to 1 degree of the cardinal signs, Aries, Cancer, Libra, Capricorn in your chart. And you will be very, very affected in those life areas in your chart in that case. Now, I'm filming this video and I'm just feeling really like I don't want to get too caught up in the activity, like the going and rushing and posting and doing all this ambitious stuff. And I just, this is an energy that I'm feeling right now, or I don't want to feel so drained by the outside world. And I'm kind of feeling a little bit drained today because I feel like the energies are just quiet and they are inviting me to just turn in and reflect and go into an internal place. And so that's very, very appropriate for this new moon in Pisces. So this is the first of two videos. This is the collective reading. And then I will do the 12th sign reading after I get done filming this one and, doing all the things I need to do to make this video what it is and put it out there. So anyway, delving into the themes of this new moon. Now, every new moon is a time to plant seeds of intention. This is true. This new moon is about anything that's unresolved, anything that we just haven't tied up the loose ends upon, anything left hanging in the ethers, like a celery on the cliff or whatever. Anything that involves what we haven't resolved, any experiences, any relationship, any job, any habit that we need to break, any kind of creative project, whatever it is. Whatever it is that that you're like, this is not resolved, and we have to tie up loose ends. This is the very, very last stop on the trip of the astrological new year, because just 2 days later, the equinox happens. And Mercury retrograde ends the day of the equinox, which is perfect. It's just perfect. Because the equinox is Aries season, we're starting over again. And Mercury retrograde is ending March 20th, which is like the end of, the old and, the end of, internal period. So we had the Mercury retrograde during Pisces season, which is more internal time, and then Aries season, Mercury is direct and going full force, which is very, very appropriate for 2026 because it's a very full-on year. Like this year, I have felt so full-on, and I just feel so alive again this year. This new moon is a little bit of an exception to that. So we're planting seeds to kind of clean up the mess, basically. If there's any mess, like you take a broom and you clean up the mess on the floor, that's unresolved so that you make it resolved. What is the mess in your life that needs cleaning up? This is a time to have a willing release. There's a card from Call Up Aaron Reed's Oracle of the Seven Energies. The very, very last card is a willing release. This is the time to release whatever habit pattern, relationship, belief around money and material security, way of communicating, whatever it is that we need to release. Just releasing anything that we need to release, releasing anything that no longer serves us. That's the benefit of Pisces energy, because it's the end of the zodiac. Releasing all that doesn't serve us in our lives. And we're making space for the new. Like when we release the old things, release what's not working for us, what's not serving for us, we make space for the new. We automatically make space for new energy to come and play. So we don't have this in the way of that. We don't have this blocking that. We just are allowing the space in for the new. Now, this is the end of the astrological year, so you can really do a lot of inner reflection and contemplation during this new moon. This is a contemplative new moon. So what kinds of lessons did you learn this year? What kinds of themes came up? What did you achieve this year? How did you grow this year, March 20th, 2025 to now? Because now we're entering a new astrological year just before World Astrology Day, March 20th, when the astrological new year begins. So this is a good time to use the Mercury retrograde as well with this, and this is happening at the end of the Mercury retrograde. You can this with the Mercury retrograde is both supporting you with this, is reflecting on the themes that came about in your life and what those themes taught you, what you experienced with those things. And so this is preparation for the March 20th equinox. The equinox is going to happen. The sun and moon are an equal measure of light and day. And it's the Aries equinox. So the Aries equinox is about going full on and going out and making things happen in your life. So this is about making room for something new to be initiated. This is the end of a story, the end of a chapter, the end of a cycle, and a new cycle can be initiated. This is a deeply internal time. This is a time to go into our inner world, our inside self, our mind, our heart, and really, really sit with what is going on inside of our mind and our heart. What is going on? What are our emotions? What are our thoughts? What is our intuition trying to say? With all these things, we're going within. So if you can stay at home during this time, do some journaling, do some meditation, do all these things. But if you can't, just spend some quiet time throughout your day sitting with yourself. There's just something to be said about just taking out all the noise and just sitting with yourself in silence, either through meditation or something like that. Because when you sit with yourself, everything comes up and you can get to know yourself better. You can really feel into, you can tap into your intuition, you can feel into what's really, really going on without the noise, without the stimulus, without the distractions. So this is the new moon to really consider, how can I block out all these distractions, all this noise, and focus on just sitting with ourselves and contemplating. Now, another thing is, and I realize I say that a lot in my videos, and I don't pronounce the R at the end of it. My Libra moon probably makes my accent the way it is. I don't know if that's really true or not, but so I'll just see about that. But anyway, what are the signs that we're getting? This is a time for deep listening. Another card from Colette's enchanted map, which great time to use oracle cards, by the way. We'll get to that later. But and I would use oracle cards for these videos, but I have my reasons for not doing that, and I would, but yeah, I don't know. I already do it with the signs, so I don't see what the point of doing that. So looking at the signs, from the outside world, really, really deeply listening to ourselves and looking elsewhere at the signs from the outside. And what is our intuition trying to tell us? What are the signs from our intuition? Go to this post office. Go to that job. Post that online or not. Very close to home for me right now. From the small things like hanging a painting up to the big things about should I move to a new country or should I board this plane to Spain? Those kind of things like that. Your intuition will give you signs. So when you are so distracted with all the noise and all the talking and the doing and all that kind of stuff, you're missing the signs from your intuition. You're missing what it's trying to tell you. And it's quiet. It's subtle. You have to breathe. Get quiet to really, really tap into your intuition. Now, what we think has an impact on our external reality. Anything that we imagine and that we dream up in our minds can impact the outside world around us, because what are we going to do with that? What are we going to act on when it comes to these imaginations and dreams, and look at how what is going on inside of us is showing up in our external world. So this is setting intentions for the next astrological new year. This is what this new moon is. Ask yourself, what do you want to experience next year? We've already got started with 2026, but it's only just begun. This is, Aries season. It's going to be full on this year, because I'm going to tell you, mid-April, there is going to be a lot of planets in Aries. I'm going to tell you that right now. So Aries season this year is going to be a full-on season. And you're probably going to feel, I've already been feeling it, so just imagine how I'll be feeling it. But I think I'm wiser now than I was about it, so it's good that it happened during Pisces season and I didn't go into Aries season and just be all destructive and, unethical with my use of Aries energy. So, what do you want to experience? What do you want to live? And what do you want your state of being to be? Do you want to live from a place of internal power? Introspection? Do you want to be a state of peace? A state of connected to your soul? A state of having a solid emotional foundation? Or do you want to be rocked about by the world? It is your choice whether you want to live from the outside in or the inside out. And that becomes very, very important to consider with this. So what do you want your state of being to be? An astrologer that I follow had everyone, but she suggested picking a word for the year. And for 1 year, my word was peace, because I wanted to experience peace. I think that was the year when I was experiencing all the, OCD and depression and Saturn and Pisces in the sky. I had a dream about Saturn and Pisces last night. And I should mention this because it is Saturn and Pisces, and we are talking about Pisces energy. The negative is no boundaries. Very, very hard to find boundaries. Very hard to separate what is real with what is not. You're getting so caught up in the fantasy in the head that you're not looking at reality. And just hopelessness and despair, which the summer of 2024 for me was very, very much that. I was really getting caught up in the low vibration of Saturn and Pisces. And it was not the best Saturn transit for me with what occurred in my life. Although there's plenty of wonderful things I have to say about Saturn and Pisces. Just for me during that period, it was rough. But so, that's something to consider. Now, this is about also tapping into what your creativity and intuition is trying to tell you. Tapping into, and creativity is not boom, boom, boom. You must follow these steps in a recipe in a certain order. Creativity is not following recipes. Creativity is creating something that hasn't been invented before. So what do you want to dream about and create based on your beliefs? Because the phrase of Pisces is, I believe. And you could sing about it, like, I believe in a better world, I believe in a more compassionate world. Like, that's Pisces' phrase. And what are the creative things that you are putting out into the world based off of those beliefs? So, Pisces is about the big picture. It's one of those signs, it's opposite Virgo, and Sagittarius and Pisces are both about this. Sagittarius is more expansive and philosophical. Pisces is more emotional and spiritual. So getting caught out, if you find yourself bogged down in these little mundane details of life, the taxes, the computer issues, the daily hygiene routines, the, money and financial stuff, whatever those details are, can you rise out of that and get unstuck from those things and rise into a higher consciousness of something more spiritual, something more higher up? And so Pisces energy is a very, very healing energy for me because of my negative feelings toward Virgo. And I did film a podcast episode about why I'm just not a fan of Virgo in my other podcast, The Real Me. So Pisces energy is just so healing, and it's such a healing energy if you use it at the high level. And at the low level can be some of the things I mentioned with Saturn and Pisces earlier. Now, another really, really big thing, and we've been looking at this during the Mercury retrograde in Pisces, really, really getting rigorously honest with yourself. Who drains your energy? Engaging in what drains your energy? For me, it's posting all the time on social media. Not necessarily getting on there and just viewing others' content, but just posting constantly. Like posting this on this platform, making sure that they're on the other platforms, posting video after video after video. That, I've just found like it just drains me. And after a while listening to myself, I just feel so drained, listening to myself. Yet I'm caught up in listening to myself. So, I'm aware of all of these things, and I'm going to maybe do things differently. Or I maybe will do things differently. This is a time to look at what drains you, what emotionally, physically exhausts you. Especially emotionally, but also psychically. Pisces can be linked to that. So, who or what drains your energy? This is a time to evaluate that. And you can, set stronger boundaries with this. Pisces can evolve through Virgo, and the evolution of Pisces is, I am compassionate, but I will not be drowned in the emotions and drowned in the feelings that I lose my center. I lose my footing because it's just so intense, and I'm getting swept up in it, and I lose my sense of, I'm connected to reality. I'm grounded, here and now, in the present. So, both Virgo and Pisces are learning to be more present in this lifetime. Both of them. Virgo being caught up in the head, Pisces being caught up in the dreams and the fantasies and the emotions of everything. That they both need to learn about presence. That's their kind of where they can share the same lesson on that path of doing. So, setting stronger boundaries with yourself against these things that drain you. Like, I'm going to get off posting. I'm going to take a break. I'm just going to listen to music. I'm going to meditate. I'm going to, just sit and listen to a podcast. I'm going to read something. Read the novel that I'm reading. I'm just going to focus on other things that don't require me to work so hard and put my mental and energy investment where I feel drained by all that. So I'm aware of that, and you can really utilize this new moon for that. Now, I want to make something clear about my videos. I did say that with all these transits going on, you can't exactly, embody one transit and then another at the same time. So what I suggest with these videos is to treat them as weekly forecasts. You listen to this one and you listen to the other one, and consider these things that I say for this week only, and then the next, times that I make a video, consider these things for this week. So, that's what I suggest, and that's what I will I think that's what I'll do, because it's just too much to consider at once. Anyway, but you can do it, whatever works for you, I'm doing what works for me, but that's just what I suggest. So, all right. So any activity that allows your emotions and ideas to flow in a very, very free way. Meditation. When you're meditating, you're allowing your emotions to just be there, and you're sitting with them. You're not fighting them. You're not in fight, flight, or freeze. You're just, this is what is going on, and these are the emotions, and I'm sitting with them, and I'm acknowledging these emotions, and ultimately integrating the emotions. And ideas, you're sitting with the ideas and allowing these ideas to flow freely. Any kind of creative thing, any kind of spiritual practice. This is a new moon to release what you no longer need in your life, what no longer serves you, what is no longer for your highest good. There may be some soul contracts in your life that have expired, and it's time to honor those contracts. The only reason why I wouldn't be doing the same things like this during my Saturn return, and the only reason for this is if my soul has moved on. For some reason it moved on. Not that I wasn't available, not that life took over and I couldn't do it. No. I refuse to just succumb to that. It has to be, I was doing this, but you know what? I just didn't feel like it anymore, and I had other plans, and life had other plans, and I felt called to go in that direction, and so be it. You don't know the future, so you can't really plan too far out into the future what's going to happen. So, but, like a soul contract that expired for me was doing pretend videos. I did that for, since I was 6-7 years old to, really, if I have to be perfectly honest, 20 years old. Some of those pretend stuff I put on, my channel. I have to admit this. Those were my videos and my creations, so I do believe that I do want those to stay up there. I've gotten rid of a lot of videos recently that I just don't want on there because I didn't create the videos, and I want videos that only I create from this point forward. The ones that are still there, not the ones that are just wiped out. But my soul has moved on from that contract. It's like, I'm done doing the pretend. I'm done pretending. It's time to get real with all this stuff. So that's for me personally. Now, Aries season is going to come in very, very quickly after this. And it's going to give you a boost, boost of energy, but it's going to give you a sense of purpose. I know my purpose. I know what I'm going to do. I had these plans, and now forward movement, set these things into motion. Don't wait and don't sit in the energy, but set these things in motion when it arrives. That's the Aries equinox. And it's going to give you a sense of direction. Like Pisces, you're unclear about the direction that you're going in because you're in the super reflection. You're not clear about the direction, but You gain the clarity through all that reflection in Pisces season, and then Aries season comes and you're like, boom, now I know what I want to do, and well, hopefully, supposedly, and this is the direction that I'm going in, and it gives you the courage and the confidence to boldly go in that direction. And this is a time of integration. This could be taking spiritual practices and making them real in your life, making the immaterial material in your life, transcending the spiritual realm into your material life. That's Pisces Virgo. It's taking the divine and spiritual and using that while you are living your day-to-day life. That's what it's all about. Or it could be just making things just connected instead of disconnected. And I think integrated also means like you're denying these things. You're not acknowledging these things. I think that part of integration is acknowledging these things, of being aware of all these things very, very well. And then what spiritual practices can you bring in? Oracle cards, meditation, journaling, all these kind of things. This is a great time to really put your focus on these things and just carve out time to focus on these spiritual practices. It can really, really be beneficial. It doesn't have to be a big deal. Just make space in your life for these things and these states of being. Now, another thing with Pisces energy is we learn in Pisces energy, Virgo wants to be certain about things. It wants to be right. Like I knew somebody in school who was, a Leo sun with Virgo South Node, and she always wanted to be right. She always wanted to know everything. If she didn't know everything, she'd feel very, very insecure. Virgo South Node, needing to have a handle and to know every little thing about life. But she is learning through the Pisces North Node to open up to what she doesn't know, and to accept that, and to flow with the universe, to be open to the universe, to surrender this egoic need to just know everything and be certain about everything. The knowledge is that we do not have all the answers. Nobody has all the answers. I guess AI does. But AI is a machine. It doesn't have emotions and doesn't know how to intuit. But we don't have all the answers. We don't have all the answers. And can we just accept that and not try to fight it and not try to find all the answers? Because we're never going to have all the answers to everything in life. Even our own lives, we're not going to know what's going to happen next. We're not going to know the answers to questions that others ask us, or to ourselves even. I mean, there's many ways that you could go into this, but it's about allowing space for the receptivity of these answers, like being receptive to these answers. Like, I don't know, I wonder, I'm curious, I'm allowing myself to see and understand and feel these reasons, when I'm going through life, instead of needing to know certainty. Like, I'm just allowing the universe to give me these answers as I go through life, basically. Now, any placement in the late degrees of the mutables and the early degrees of the cardinal signs, you're going to be more affected during this new moon. All these things are going to apply more to you in that way. During this new moon, we can actually lean into a more evolved Pisces energy, which is presence. Where we let go of the old narratives, the old stories, the old past stuff, cleaning that all up. And when we do that, which it's not going to be overnight, it's going to be easier said than done. You believe me, I know this because it took me 3 years to deal and process with all my regrets. But give it time. Be patient with it. Go through life the best you can when you're in it. Find ways to occupy yourself. Find ways to keep you busy, keep you going, find what keeps you going, and just be patient, because you're not going to expect yourself to just get rid of all your regrets and your stories and your narratives like that. It's going to take time, and it's going to alleviate over time. And it took a lot of time. So, but I found ways to get through those periods, and I found things to occupy myself to get through that really, really tough period in my life, mentally and emotionally. And so when we release the old, when that is finally released, or when we can just put that on the back burner and focus on right here, right now, like what is right here and right now in our day-to-day present reality? What can we touch? What can we taste and act upon in our present reality? And focusing on that. Because all we have is the present. We don't have the past. We don't have the future. So, new moons are times of introspection. They are dark skies. Like, new moons are times when it's an inward and reflective time. You're going inside yourself. You're reflecting. And especially during this Pisces new moon, it's very, very important. Now, Pisces is not only the end of things, but it's also the beginning. Pisces is not bound by what is considered to be linear time. It's not bound by chronological sequence. In Pisces energy, in the realm of Pisces, things blend into one. It's this and this. Pisces, like linear time is either or. Pisces energy is a both and energy. Both and. It's a very, very common theme in spirituality. It is both and. We're both experiencing a culmination of all these things, of all these lessons, of all these things that we've looked at, but also a new beginning at the same time. So it's both. It's not one or the other. So they become one. This is a quiet new moon. This is a time to be still. Just sit with yourself, as I said before. Be still. Be peaceful. Do things that bring your soul peace and calm. Meditation. Listening to classical music. Sitting out in nature. Taking a walk in nature. Painting. Cooking. Gardening. Whatever brings you into that high vibrational peace that you can come back to. Wait, I'm going to ask you this. The astrologer Pam Gregory has this thing where she does meditation every Sunday evening, or every day, where people come together and there's no Zoom links or anything, just they join in energetically and send peace out to the world, like a ripple effect. And she was saying, what is your default practice? Like, what is something that you can default to? And very, very easily for me, that would be my breath. What is your go-to practice? You can just go to, anytime when you're feeling ungrounded, anytime when you're feeling just scattered and you're feeling like just rocked about and very just off course. Like the leaves are not, it's about rooting yourself, grounding yourself. And so what helps you to ground? What helps you to become calm? So before reacting, before getting, all, because Neptune's in Aries and Saturn's in Aries and so, we're more, reactive now over things, and we're more, defensive. Like, instead, calm down, take a breath, respond. Respond rather than react. Take a breath, come to a place of stillness, and respond from that place. If you're feeling like, this reminds me of Matilda. The musical Matilda, when Miss Trunchbull was yelling at her, and then she says, quiet like a page in a book. Like that kind of song like that, where she's, like all the noise of Miss Trunchbull yelling at her and doing it that way. No, it's quiet. It's quiet, like, just without talking, like, get out of the stimulus and all the noise, like, shut out all the noise, just listen around you to the quiet. And speaking of responding rather than just reacting, I do have a plan to make a very in-depth podcast about the Gemini North Node. It just came up very, very recently. I have a song about it because I just feel so strongly about this particular North Node, and I want to do that video, which is very much about, very much can benefit from this, and it's about beginner's mind. Gemini North Node is beginner's mind, responding before you react, listening instead of reacting. So, because that's one of the highlights of Gemini energy, it's the listening part of it. So, sensitivity. We may feel more sensitive to all the issues going on, all the pain. Oh my gosh. Okay. Please forgive me. You may have your own different opinions about this, okay? But this is how I feel. Some of you may feel the same way, some of you will not, okay? And I just want to acknowledge that. I'm just going to go ahead and say it, and I'm going to get it out there. What is going on with the world today? What is going on with the world today? Why can't we come to peace? Like, we are not living in the Aquarian age just yet. In order for us to live into the Aquarian age, we have to be peaceful with one another, and calm with one another, and respectful of each other's differences. And this whole power over thing with, Ukraine and Russia and our president right now, who's very unethical with, what he is doing, and with all the, the negative stuff about him, which I won't go into. All that stuff. I mean, all these promises made that were not delivered upon, and a lot of false hope that did not get delivered, is really proving that the world can really drain you at this point. I mean, the state of the world is just... I was talking to a family member about it in the car, and I just felt so down about it. Because I just want the world to get to a peaceful place, and we all do. We all do. And so when we're so drowned with what is going on in the world and all these issues going on in our lives in the world, we lose our sense of sovereignty. We lose our sense of living from the inside out. We lose our sense of grounding. So how can you ground? How can you get off the news and take a break from all that worry and know what triggers you? Be very, very cognizant and aware. This is what drains me. This is what triggers me. And put up a boundary. Say, full stop, no, I'm not going to engage in this. And I'm going to choose to get on my eagle's perch. And I'm going to choose to live from a higher place of love. And I am going to do my part to radiate love and peace out into the world. Be an example for others who are not feeling loving and peaceful, and those who are not loving and peaceful individuals. We can show them the way to love and peace. We can really, really show them that way is very, very good. So another thing is going beyond this material reality. Just this material 3D reality that we can taste and touch into what we can't see, into the unseen, into those unseen realms, into the immaterial. Into spirit and the divine, like getting out of into the 3D into going beyond, because this okay, we get this confused in our conditioning and our thing. The immaterial, the spiritual, comes before the material. The material is what we create, comes after that. It doesn't come first. The material comes out of what is immaterial. Spirits go inside of us with our intuition and convince us to create all these material things and to live out this material life. We really have to look, can we see beyond just the material things and go beyond the unseen? I'm talking to Scorpio North Node right now because at the low road they're just so fixed on what is material that actually can lead into another side of Taurus energy, which is the simple things that are immaterial. And that's how you can evolve to the Scorpio. So, that's also related to that right now. So, some things are meant to be by the divine, and some things are not meant to be by divine orchestration. I was meant to have bad things happen to me when it comes to the videos that I took down, which was the right thing to do. That was meant to happen for me to reflect and be more self-aware on what I post. What was not meant to happen was just that to be ignored me to continue doing what I was doing and not being aware that, oh, this has a negative impact on others. So, reflect on what in your life, just in general, is meant to be and not meant to be in a divine way. Like the divine is orchestrating this reality. It's not just, we are not the ones in charge. The divine is in charge. You can't fight God and universal truths. They are the ones in charge. Just surrender, just letting go of the need to fight all the spiritual things. The divine. Just surrender. Lean in. And embrace the divine in our lives. And the very, very last thing before I get into the specific aspects of this lunation is being calm and receptive. Being calm and receptive before taking action. It's very, very important. Before you just take action out of impulse, all of a sudden, calm yourself. Get into that quiet place and really sit with what you're about to do before you do it. If it is a kind of risky move, and check in with yourself. Is this right? Do I feel good about doing this? It all goes back to intuition. So can you now choose to, just don't act immediately. Just sit with it. Like how I will not be when I'm in a very high emotional state, when I don't have the clarity, I will not go on and just do a podcast. I will let it sit until the next day if it's late in the day, or I feel like I'm more calm and clear, and then when I'm calm, I will go do the podcast on the Real Me podcast. That's a promise I made to myself. So calming yourself down before just acting. It's very, very important. So, not jumping before taking action also. So, now we're going to break down some aspects of this lunation. I'm going to get into some aspects. Now, I used to say things like, good for buying groceries and cosmetics. Don't lower your standards of dating, which... Not my words. Not my words. I would never say that in my autonomy. And I feel like now with my astrology, I'm coming into my own. I'm explaining it in my own individual way. I'm stepping away from any influence of all the other astrologers. Now that's just so combined and integrated that I'm explaining it in my own way. And so now I'm going to break down the aspects of what they can mean for your life that is more meaningful than just superficial astrology. Like the superficial stuff. The houses are not superficial. But there are aspects of just astrology and, how astrology is classified on the media, daily horoscopes on websites, love horoscopes, business horoscopes for your sign, what to buy when. I mean, this is all no. I want to go beyond this. So, Sun conjunct Moon is the very, very first aspect. The Sun's together with the Moon. So what you'll find with this, and this is another thing going along with it, what you see yourself is also what others see. What you are so consciously aware of as the Moon is your internal self. It's what's going on inside of you. It's your emotional self. It's the innermost part of you. And the Sun is the more external part. How you put yourself out into the world. How you, what you want to do in the world. And so what you do out into the world, you're aware of, and others will be aware of because of this aspect. So that your inner and outer self are one. They're not separate. Like sometimes there can feel like a battle between our head and our heart. Like our head wants one thing, but our heart's saying another thing, and like, which direction do we go in? Well, now the heart and the head are aligned. And we can be whole and integrated and act from that place. The final need is that, the final thing, is that you know what you need versus what you want. Being able to discern between, here's what I need in my life. This is what I can't live without. And this is what my soul wants. Like, this is what my soul needs, what my soul wants. And acknowledging both. Needs are kind of more important. So that is to say that. But it is still both. So acknowledging both your needs and your wants in your life and what intentions you'll prioritize when it comes to that. The next aspect, Sun sextile Uranus. So the Sun is in Pisces at 28 degrees. I do believe. And Uranus is at the very, very end of Taurus. Uranus is going to move in Gemini in April, and I'm super excited for that transit. I will be doing a full podcast going in depth on Uranus and Gemini before my, kind of hiatus in the middle of April for medical reasons. I'll film the videos ahead of time, and I will schedule them out because I just don't want to leave my channel stagnant just because I have to be gone for a week, which says a week I'll be gone for a week. So, Sun sextile Uranus. Let's talk about this. So you may feel like this time you're just feeling more creative all of a sudden. Like you just wake up and like, I just want to create all these things. I just want to, do the typical things like paint, draw, write a song or whatever, but just create something. Create a video, create, a dish, create a relationship, create a plant, start a new podcast, like the podcast that I started back in February. So just feeling more creative and more curious. Like your mind is going to be more open, you're going to find. Like more curious, and your imagination's also going to be more open. This brings about new doorways that are opening of growth, like you're seeing all these doors just open up. Growth here, growth there. On the inner and outer level, and that you're choosing to, but will you choose to open the doors? It's like in the Polar Express when they say it doesn't matter where you're going; it just matters if you get on. It just matters if you get on. So, are you willing to open those doors to growth? This is also about becoming whole, and if there's any part of yourself that you've rejected, or you just like, I just want to, disown this part of myself and totally forget about and deny that it's even here. Well, now it's time to claim that part of yourself. Claim that part of yourself that's in the shadows, and say that now I'm going to claim this And I'm going to be present with this. And I'm going to express this authentic self, this part of me, out into the world. So, expressing who you are as an authentic being. You're responsible for your choices and your actions and everything like that. You're expressing your real self. Now, also, who you interact with, your bonds, and the people that you collaborate with is also very, very important. So that's good to keep into consideration. And Uranus brings about change. Like it's like everything is going just fine. Everything is like the status quo. Then Uranus comes in. Suddenly, there's all this disruption. There's suddenly all this disruption, all this chaos from nowhere. It's like a lightning strike. It's like you didn't expect the lightning strike to happen. And so Uranus brings about what is uncomfortable, what is unfamiliar, what is uncertain. But it's to get you to ultimately liberate your life and evolve yourself at a higher level. Uranus wants you to evolve, to grow. And sometimes we need wake-up calls and something shocking to happen in our lives, like what happened to me very recently, to wake us up and say, I need to change the direction that I'm going in my life. And if you're 40-something, 44, whatever, and you're watching this, you're going through your Uranus opposition. And that is when you're like, I need to change my life up. I need to change my life around because the way that I've been doing it's like, I don't know if that works for me anymore. So I'm going to, change this up. So that's what happens in your 40s. So it's like, what in your life do you like, if you haven't done it already, like what in your life do you just feel like you've been sitting on and you've been not acting upon, but now's the time to just act, like suddenly act, like you're in a spurs you into action, like I want to change this up. And then also, there can also be like finding a tribe of people that really get you. This is the Aquarian age, finding people that share your common interests and perspectives on life, that are at your level on an intellectual level. Finding people and interacting with those individuals. Joining a club, or that is one example if you can, but just find ways to connect with the people in your world, in your life, in a way where you are on kind of the same wavelength. You're sharing kind of some of the same ideas about things. Now, the last thing is the rebellious aspect of this. So what, really asking yourself, what are the social, societal structures, the status quo of my life that does not feel right for me? All these rules and limitations do not feel right for me. What is just holding you back? Like, what is holding you back? And speaking of what is holding you back, I did just film a podcast, which I will not be taking down. That is for sure. And I don't care if they're unhappy with it. I made a podcast where I was expressing how limited I feel by this organization watching over me. Really, actually, in reality, I won't go into the reasons for that. But I was talking about how that was limiting my freedom, my self-expression. So I'm going to rise up against that. And I did that in that video, in a calm, living from the inside out place. And I'm going to live a life authentically. And I'm not going to be afraid of the content that I'm going to post on my channel. I'm going to do what I feel is right for myself and, go in that direction. So that's something to also consider. Now, Venus square Jupiter. Let me just look in my chart to see if I have this aspect, because I believe I have this aspect in my chart. Let me just look, and then I'll, maybe explain it from my perspective. I don't know, do a video on Venus and Jupiter some way later into the future. So let me just look, because I do believe that I have Venus in Gemini, Jupiter in Virgo in my chart. It's kind of, maybe it's a wide square, but like I have Jupiter at 10 degrees, Venus at like 2 degrees, so Yeah, yeah, and I put this way too later in time. So, yeah, so Venus squaring Jupiter. This aspect, well, Venus and Jupiter are the benefic, so, I mean, even if it is a square, it still brings positive things. However, the good thing about this is you're suddenly feeling more optimistic about life. Like, there's a new sense of optimism, and you're feeling more generous, like you want to give generously. Give to others. That's the positive of this. Another positive is why it's a good time for socializing. It is a good time for getting out there and making connections. Venus and Jupiter are social energies. Venus is about relationships, and Jupiter is about travel and mental and physical expansion. So, getting out and meeting people, great for socializing. What it's not so good for, though, is it gives you the tendency to overdo things, overindulge, because Venus is the pleasure and Jupiter is in all these things. And so I want to talk about why moderation is a good thing. And maybe I'll call the Venus square Jupiter video that I'm going to do, why moderation is a good thing. And I can tell you right now, a very, very close family member, that I live with in my life, stresses and re-emphasizes moderation, because I have difficulty with that. I don't know how to, I go all in and do things in an extreme, full-on, strong way that I'm learning how to cut back and moderate myself, balancing that out with being my true self. I don't feel like I want to be my true self, moderating that at the same time. But moderating how much you're engaging in these physical pleasures, like how much you're eating or how much you're spending or doing whatever the thing is, how much you're connecting, over talking, or whatever the overindulging thing that you're doing in your own life, and you only know that for your own life. Where can you put some moderation to that? Where you can be like, I am noticing, it has to come from a self-aware place, like, I'm noticing that I'm overdoing this, and this is making me feel ungrounded. So what I'm going to do is pull back and cut back on this. Like, I'm going to cut back on how much am I doing on this. That's what moderation is. Like they say in life, everything in moderation. That's I think what Julia Child said, and all these kind of things like that. So another thing is what you spend your money on. What you spend your money on relates to your values. You spend money on the things that you value. Really reflecting upon, what do I really want to spend my money on? We can get so caught up in our immediate material needs. Like, I see that shiny thing, I see that pair of shoes, or I see that painting, or that statue, or that vase or book, or video game station or whatever, and I want it. I see that job, I want it, and I want it now. So, but really is, what does your heart say about this? Or what does your higher ideals say about this? What do you want based off of your beliefs and your principles and your ideals? They go beyond just that impulsive need that we humans have. When we see something like the colors just light up, like on commercials, we say, oh, we want this because they're advertising it, making sense, so good. Like, sitting with it and reflecting upon, is this really true to my values? Like, sitting with it and evaluating. Is it true to my values? Is it something that I really, really want, before just jumping on the opportunity? So if there's any new opportunities, this is caution. Don't just jump into something that's just immediate and so material. Reflect on your principles and your values on this. Very, very important. Also, a lesson that I'm going to talk about very, very much strongly on that Gemini North Node video coming up on Sunday is being open to the perspectives of others. Very, very important. because Jupiter can be like overconfident and everything like that. And, I have Jupiter in Virgo, so there is some humility with that. But, being open to others' perspectives, being open to see the world through others' eyes, and being willing to make connections in that kind of open way. And another really, really big theme that I'm going to probably emphasize quite a bit also in that video that I really feel strongly about is, oh my gosh, one of the biggest pet peeves of mine in my life is when people make assumptions. Oh, I hate it, hate it, hate it. Negative assumptions. They just say it like they're confident. And there's certain close people in my life that have done that. And I make it a little bit personal with it in that podcast because I want to paint, a real picture, of this. But just when, like having the kind of confidence to say, I know this, and so I'm assuming this, and as soon as I heard that, I was like, whoa, this is, and I became very, very mad at that. I took it very, very personally because it was a family member making this assumption, and there have been assumptions in the past. And how these assumptions out of your own pride and confidence, thinking that you know what the other knows when you don't know. You don't know. And I have a song about that called You Don't Know, a Sagittarius South Node song. And the message is you don't know what others are thinking or feeling or what they believe or what's really going on. That's why you have to ask. Build connections, be open to learn. This is a lesson here is not assuming that we know things, but where this can be detrimental in relationships. And also, the final thing that I want to say here is how are you manipulating others with your words, with your looks, with, what do you use to just get, your way that's not right? That you may need to, alter and change around when it comes to manipulation. Which can be very, very negative and very, very destructive. And that's the last note that I want to end on. This video has been a very, very in-depth look at the new moon in Pisces happening on March 18th. Tune in for the next video coming up very, very soon on what this all means for your sign. And I am hoping and praying that that video becomes as popular or even more popular than the last one last week. So tune in for that video. I hope that a lot of people also view this video because there's a lot of information in this video, and I want others to hear all this information and not miss out on all that I've given here. So anyway, that is all I have to say, and I will see you in that 12 sign video for your rising sign. And I'll see you in the next podcast episode.